which presents to you Barely Watched podcast featuring Lester Wiltfong. Lester, how are you feeling on this beautiful Saturday?
It is a nice day, right? It's nice outside and in the Midwest here, so yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. So, how about you?
I'm hanging in there, young man. Like I said, we're going into another game tomorrow where everyone slates, oh, the next couple of Bears games should be winnable, yada yada. When we all know we got to take it one game at a time, and you can only play who you have ahead of you, you know?
All week people saying, "Oh, this is a trap game." I mean, honestly though, this Bears team hasn't won nothing in a long time. I don't
Yeah,
think these players are like thinking, "Man, we're so good." They're not looking past anybody.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
plus they're coming off a Monday night game, so it's a short week. I think their
yeah.
focus will be there. And I don't think Ben Johnson will let this team get off path. I think he's going to keep them on point, and they'll have all the scheme, the game plan. It's all looking towards the Saints. There'll be no looking forward in this game.
Of course. What do you say to those people with the chatter of, "Oh, the Bears should easily win this game"? Excuse me.
I mean, they got to get it done, right? I mean, that's yeah, the Bears are favored, but they've been, they still got to, go out there and play. And I think if this team wants to be taken seriously, look, when they beat the Cowboys a few weeks back, everyone's like, well, they should have beat the Cowboys. Okay, well, you're
Mhm.
supposed to beat teams that you're supposed to beat. If you want to be
Right.
considered good, you got to beat these teams you're supposed to. So yeah, they have to go out there and put it to the Saints and get out of there with a win.
Of course. Now, not trying to harp on old games, old news, but what were some things that you were seeing positive from the Bears against the Commanders?
Yeah, it was just really smart on both sides of the ball. I mean, there's been a lot made about how Ben Johnson, previous to this game, they did a lot of double tight, right? A whole bunch of two tight end sets.
Mhm,
And then this game coming out of the bye, they switched it up. They did a lot of three receiver sets, a lot of 11 personnel. And that was a scheme thing they saw that they could take advantage of the Commanders. They figured that they'd be able to run against them, and they did.
mhm,
And then on the defensive side of things too, I mean, Dennis Allen kind of changed up what he normally does. Hasn't blitzed much this year, but he decided to
mhm.
heat Jaden Daniels up. He went after him with the blitz. He played a lot of single high safety, which is something he hasn't done much this year. He said, "Look, we got to stop the run and let's dare Jaden Daniels to beat us, and we'll try and heat him up." And the Bears came out with the win.
They were doing a lot of heavy blitzing. Almost every play or every other play was a blitz. I was like, they're really sending them after Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I mean that's part of what you got to do. I mean, at the end of the day, look, he's still a young quarterback. I mean, the easiest way to get to a young quarterback is to pressure him. So plus we talked about it last week how good the Commanders are running the ball. I mean, they had to stop the run. I mean, the Bears
Mhm.
were so bad at it. They really focused on it during the bye, and they made a point to come out there and take that away. And look, the Commanders still got a little bit, but it was nowhere near what they had been doing. Krosky Merritt was averaging like over 6 yards a carry. They held him pretty much in check. He got a fumble.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was a good game plan on both sides of the ball. Come out of a bye, and that's what you want out of your coaching staff, right? I mean,
Of
when's the last time
course.
the Bears have really looked good out of the bye and they
Right,
played a
right.
good team? So yeah, this is again, this bodes well for this staff overall.
Now, can you speak a little bit to what you saw from Caleb Williams and tell us a little bit about what you would rate his overall performance against the Commanders, being in front of his hometown crowd?
He was fine. I mean, he had some plays early where you're like, oh, what is he doing there? He had a few plays kind of throughout the game where you're just wondering what's going on. But he also made some big plays, right? He had some nice reads.
Mhm,
He had the incredible pass to Roma Dunze that got negated by a bogus penalty. I
mhm,
mean, look, the league has emphasized calling the tackles being set too far back.
mhm,
I don't know what they were looking at. I watched the all 22. I watched the
mhm.
replay. Like, how do they even make that play? That flag? That's ridiculous. So he had that taken off the board. He had that pass to Zacchaeus that was dropped over the middle. Would have been a really big game there. So
He had a linebacker on him with nothing but green field in front of him.
yeah, so like a lot of people are criticizing and say, "Oh, he should have had this, or he should have had a pick here. This was a bad read." Well, look,
Mhm,
if you're gonna if play the if game for the bad, play the if game for the good, right? It kind of
mhm.
at the end of the day, it all kind of weighs out, and I think overall, it was another step in the right direction for Caleb and the offense.
Of course, of course. Now, with him still taking his time to come into who he's meant to be, what would you say that him, his coach, and offensive coordinator are doing well enough to limit the turnovers, which we rarely see from him.
I think that's just might be who he is. I know, he was always pretty smart with the ball in college.
Hmm.
I know he has this reputation as being a gunslinger. His last year at USC kind of had to. That was a pretty bad team overall. So,
Hmm.
but prior to that last year at USC, he was pretty smart with the football. So I think that's kind of who he always has been as a football player.
Hmm.
And look, as bad as Eberflus was, one thing he always harped on him was, protect the ball, protect the ball. Sometimes to the detriment of a play because he sometimes would be a little too risk adverse. Like he didn't want to make a mistake at all. But I think he's kind of learning when he can take a chance, when he has to go for a big play. But ultimately, what he has 8 picks in his career. I mean,
Hmm.
that's ridiculous. He's pretty smart with the football. So I think that's just who he's going to be going through his career.
Now, this is something that we talk about off record all the time. Why is it that Jaden Daniels does not get the criticism that Caleb Williams would have got? Because you notice Jaden Williams threw that red zone interception to Jaquan Brisker. He fumbled the game away essentially. That would have been Caleb Williams. We would not stop hearing about it. And oh, is Caleb the guy? Maybe he's not who we thought he was. He shouldn't have been a number one pick. How does that work, Lester?
I think Caleb was just so overhyped through his entire college career. So
Hmm.
a lot of it is just people just wanting to crap on him, right? Because he's supposed to be this great generational guy. So any little mistake that happens, they want to criticize. But yeah, you're right though, man. If Caleb was smiling on the sideline after throwing a pick, if he would have threw that pick, if he would have fumbled that ball, and then his post game press conference too is kind of like, yeah, we lost. It wasn't a big deal. Like he was very nonchalant.
Hmm.
If that would have been Caleb, the people in the national media would have jumped on it. Oh, this kid
Hmm.
doesn't care, right? That would have been all over the news. So, I mean, look, even this week we get a stupid story, right? Who cares he didn't talk to Troy Aikman, right?
Yeah, right, right,
Like
right.
they're trying to make this a thing. Like it happens. Sometimes these guys can't connect. Look, they talked before week one. It wasn't a
Hmm.
problem then. It wasn't like they have never talked before. And
Right.
it's like they're trying to fabricate things to be mad about. Look, part of it is the national media. Part of it is just fans wanting to be mad about things. That's just kind of
Hmm.
how it is. Is no matter what Caleb does, look, kind of like how Jay Cutler was. There were fans that hated Jay Cutler, right? Jay
Hmm.
Cutler could have done, 5 touchdown passes in a game. It wouldn't have mattered. People, who cares, because they just didn't
Yeah.
like Cutler. Caleb's the same way. For whatever reason, he's not Justin Fields. He paints his nails. He
Hmm.
he 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 cried after a loss. Whatever the reason you have for holding on to this hatred for Caleb Williams, it's going to be there forever. And those guys, you'll never change their mind. So,
Of
f
course, of course. Now that you're ready to move on with this conversation, Lester. Now, would you say that the Bears offense did enough to win that game, or would what the media and the haters say, right? The defense bails you guys out week in and week out, XYZ, even though the defense really didn't cause that fumble that
yeah,
set them up for the win.
yeah. I mean, they got lucky. I mean, look, it's funny because like the Commanders fans have been. I mean, they were really mouthy, right, on social
Hmm.
media all week. And then the Bears win, and then they're still mouthy. Oh, the Bears got lucky. What the hell was the Hail Mary last year if it
Right.
wasn't luck? That was some
Yeah.
lucky stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I think the offense did enough to win. But look, this is now 2 weeks in a row, where it was a three-phase win. The defense
Hmm.
had some turnovers. The defense played pretty good against the run. The offense made plays when they had to. The running game picked up. And then the third phase, Jake Moody, special teams, comes through and wins the game with a big kick. So this is a team win, just like the previous one was, and that's a culture thing, right? That's Ben Johnson wanting to make sure this team is good on all phases.
Of course, of course. And if I do remember hearing correctly, I thought you said that the Bears were slated to lose that game last week.
I
No,
did. I picked them
that,
to lose. Yeah, yeah. Hey, look, I love being wrong when it comes to a prediction against the Bears. So,
was that your first time ever been wrong in your Bear tenure?
oh no, I'm wrong all the time. It's okay. It happens.
But when you say that the running game was able to get going, what do you think they talked about or discussed during the bye week that was able for them to activate this run game that we saw? Because we saw Monangai, we saw Swift, who everyone thought was dead, but he showed that he was still alive.
I
Roshan Johnson.
I think they kind of went in a self scout, right? They had to buy, so they kind of looked at all their film,
Mhm.
and it's like, yeah, we have to do more outside zone runs. So they did more outside zone with Swift, who is got great speed. His vision inside is questioned because he's just not. he's looking to go outside. That's what he wants. He wants to run in space. That's who he is as a player. So they kind of went in there and they realized let's do more outside stuff, outside zone stuff. And look, that's what Drew Dahlman, the center, is. That's what he was really good at in Atlanta.
Hmm.
Beneday, the second year left tackle, he's a good run blocker. That kind of showed up on film. Getting Darnell Wright back. Look, Darnell Wright had a fantastic
Oh,
game.
dude, you saw him on the move? Oh my gosh, dude,
Man,
dude,
he,
dude, dude.
he was
Yeah,
blocking two dudes at once. Some plays,
yeah.
yeah,
With,
just
with the still bum elbow, like,
bum
come
elbow. Yeah,
on.
so the Bears are again. Ben Johnson's in his first year. He talked about it. They're learning who they are as a team. And I think they found something here, and I think they're going to start. They want to run the. Ben Johnson's old school. He wants to run the ball, right? That's what he wants
Hmm.
to do. I know he gets all this, the high powered offense in Detroit, all the trick plays. But go back and look at his numbers as a play caller. He wants
Hmm.
to run the ball. They're always among the league leaders in run pass ratio because that's the league, right? The league is playing a lot of too high safety now because they're trying to take away the pass. And
Hmm.
Ben Johnson's ahead of the curve. He's like, fine, you want to play too high? I'm going to run down your throat. So if he wants to do that, so I think it's going to be something where, as this year progresses, that'll be more of the identity of the Bears is that smash mouth run the ball. I think it's going to
Of
be good.
course. Now that we saw Roshan Johnson back in there, do you think we'll see him in Chicago this Sunday against the Saints?
I think he'll get a carry or two here or there, but I don't think nothing bigger than that. I think he's just look, coming out of college, I thought it was a great draft pick. I thought he was going to be a good football player for the Bears. It hasn't
Hmm.
really worked out much. Last year, of course, he was your goal line short yardage guy, which I think that's a good role for him.
He had like six
Um,
touchdowns last year, right? In
yeah,
the
I thought that they would kind of put him in that Jamal Williams role as your
Hmm.
as the hammer to Swift's speed. It just didn't work out that way because of the injuries. So maybe as Rojo gets a little more healthier, maybe between him and Monangai, we'll start seeing those kind of split the share load behind Swift. But look, Swift is still your best running back on this roster.
You think so?
I think it'd be better if he wasn't getting as many touches as he is.
Hmm.
So you got to hope Monangai or Rojo can step up. And look, they may get Travis Homer back pretty soon.
Yeah.
He's more special teams guy. But he's a quality third down guy because he knows how to pick up the blitz. So maybe they'll get him in there in the mix a bit to give Swift a bit of a blow.
I really still think that it was just like the foot injury holding Roshan back. They didn't really trust him out of the backfield with that bum foot, because you rely so much on your feet as a running back. So it's like, who knows what goes behind closed
Yeah.
door. But transitioning into that defense, Lester, what did you see that made the defense so special outside of getting Kyler Gordon back, outside of getting TJ Edwards back out there?
I think TJ Edwards is a bigger deal than most people think.
Hmm.
They kind of brought him in and, he really did a pretty good job. Look, people are always going to point to, oh, he was in coverage here and he gave a catch up, but when you're a drop back in zone or when you have to keep the play in front of you, that's going to happen. Guys are going to make
Hmm.
catches in front of you. But I think his leadership, his defense against the run, I think he had what 9, 10 tackles. So
Hmm.
he's a smart football player. Him and Tremaine Edmonds, that's a really good tandem back there. So I think getting TJ back really helps. Kyler Gordon didn't have a huge game. He kind of gave up that touchdown, which was a phenomenal pass by Jane Daniels. So it's going
Hmm.
to happen. These things happen. But I think getting guys healthy, and then, like I said, at the bye week, they kind of reevaluated what they had to do, and they had a good game plan, and that's what beat the Commanders.
Now, how would you address these haters slash comments that I've been seeing all week? A lot of people have been dragging Tremaine Edmonds. They're saying that he shoots the wrong gap, he can't find the right hole that he needs to explode through. They're essentially saying that he lost a step and is not as good as I've seen him be like the past couple of seasons.
I haven't noticed much of a drop off in his game. He's always kind of been who he is. I mean, look, he's a former Pro Bowl guy with the Bills.
Hmm.
He's still in his prime. I mean, maybe he lost a step. It's possible, but what is he? He's 27. It's not like he's an old man out there. So,
Yeah.
he's got great length. I think he's again like a lot of the guys on this defense are kind of learning how to do different things. So I think it's
Hmm.
if he does look a step slow here or there, maybe it's because he's thinking too much. He's not reacting. So
Of course.
honestly, the linebacking unit is like the bottom of my concern with this Bears team. I mean, it's like the pass rush is a problem. The
Hmm.
secondary injuries are a problem. Now that TJ Edwards is back, I think they're fine at
Yeah. Well, it
linebacker.
looks like they were getting after the quarterback this past week. How do you explain that? Even Montez Sweat was involved in putting the pressure on him.
I saw a stat. It was on Twitter. I forget who shared it, but Montez Sweat's pressure numbers. Look, he's not getting home. He's not getting the sacks, but his pressure numbers are pretty high. Like
Hmm.
they're among the league leaders as far as just pressuring. Which, look, you want to get home, you want to get the sack, you want to get the quarterback hit, but just getting a pressure, sometimes getting the quarterback off his spot, that helps.
Hmm.
So look, the sacks may come, and maybe they get Austin Booker back this week, which might help a little bit off the edge on the other side. So yeah, I think again they schemed some things up. Dominic Robinson showed up.
Hmm.
Javon Dexter is still a force in the middle. We were rushing the passer, so as they get healthy all around in the secondary, it's going to help them do more stuff up front, and then Dennis Allen will feel more confident blitzing because he trusts the guys in the back end to cover.
Yeah. What update do you have on Grady Jarrett and his return?
It looks like he's probably going to be out one more week. He was questionable.
Oh.
He hasn't practiced. He practiced once on Friday and limited, and
Uh,
that was his first practice since the Cowboys game. So I want to say Brad Biggs from the Tribune reported that he had a slight procedure done at some point.
uh,
They didn't think it was going to keep him out as long as it did,
hmm.
and they also did not want to use a IR spot on him because they thought he may be come back. So that's why they kind of just kept him as on the injury list as
Hmm.
inactive. But yeah, I think next week he's back for sure since he did practice on Friday a little bit, but I
Got
don't
it.
think he'll play this week.
Lester, you have a fan in our comment section asking, will Booker help Montez's numbers? Answer it, Lester.
Yeah, I mean, look, Booker's preseason, what, 4 sacks in a preseason? I think he flashed as a rookie, and I was really looking forward to seeing how he would develop in year two, especially under this
Hmm.
the new coaching staff. So yeah, I mean, if Booker is able to give them anything off the edge, but plus the thing with Booker is he's a different pass rusher, right? With Montez
Hmm.
Sweat and with Deo, they're more power rushers. Booker's a speed guy. I mean, he has the good. He is for being a tall, wiry guy. He does have a good long arm move where he uses some power, but for the most part, that's used to kind of build off his speed move. So yeah, getting Booker back there gives an offense something else to think about because he's a different pass rusher. So I think if he can come in and if he's healthy and good to go, which it sounds like he is, and hopefully he's activated today, I think he will help that pass rush.
Now, was that you calling them Max Crosby Jr., Lester, or was that the media calling them that?
Look, coming out. I mean, that was the comp he got because Max Crosby was, I think, a fourth round draft pick, right? When the Raiders got
Mhm.
him, so kind of a similar build. He's not really big and bulky. He's more like he's a thinner guy, right? Booker is, and just like Max is.
Mhm.
So you see some of those same traits that Booker has that Crosby has. Look, if he can become half of Max Crosby, that's going to be great. So yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm excited to watch him grow as a player because he has a ton of potential coming out.
Yes, sir. Now, switching over, changing gears, Lester, what has to happen in order for the Bears to beat the Saints tomorrow?
I think the similar game plan. I think they're going to want to run the ball.
Mhm.
I think they're going to want to, be smart with the football. Look, again, it's might be sloppy. They're calling for some rain in Chicagoland area on Sunday, so just kind of was against the Commanders. Same thing, a sloppy field. Kind of keep it slow, run the ball, and look, the Saints do not run the ball nearly as good as the Commanders did. So I think if you kind of go out there and really focus on that and make Spencer Rattler beat you, see if he can do it. I mean, look, there's a lot talked about the Spencer Rattler, Caleb Williams dynamic, right? I mean,
Yeah, he got benched for him.
he got benched for him. I've seen people speculate they don't like each other. I've not seen anything concrete about this, but I can't
Mhm.
imagine they're friends. I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean that part of the game's to be played up. So yeah, you got to go after Spencer Rattler. You got to heat him up just like they did to Jaden Daniels. See if he can force him to beat you, and if he can, he can. But I think the Bears will be fine this week. I think they will get the win.
So that would mean that they've won 4 in a row if they win, though, Lester.
First time since 2018, since
Is
Matt
that po
Nagy. Yeah.
is that possible, Lester, for the Bears to be like this football team that's winning 4 in a row, though?
Man, if you went 4 in a row, I mean, that changes a lot, right? And then now all of a sudden, you're as a front office, you're like, man, that's 4 in a row. Maybe we do make a trade. Maybe we do look to add a player for a
Like,
playoff push.
what
Who
type of
knows?
player? What type of player, Lester?
Well, I mean,
Stop
who
it.
knows? I mean, like the rumors are, defensive line. The rumors are, running back. So look, if you can get a running back for a 6 or a 7, of a good, solid veteran running back you can trust, kind of pair with Swift, maybe you make a deal.
Uh-oh, speaking of trade, Lester, we have another fan saying, "Lester, did you hear about the potential Braxton Jones trade with the Raiders?"
Yeah, that was Bardwell and ESPN. That was not really any rumor based. That was just him making things up for clicks, just some
Yeah,
ideas, some
yeah,
speculation. Here are some trades I think would be great.
yeah,
N-
yeah.
no fact based in it, but I would not be a fan of that trade. I'm not a big fan of the guy that Barnwell had going back from the Raiders, Tyree Wilson. He's just a guy. I mean,
Is that the
nothing
receiver?
special. Nah, that's the defensive end they got a couple
Okay,
years
okay.
ago.
Uh-huh.
Look, I think you keep Braxton. You let him be your backup left tackle. Let him continue getting healthier and healthier. And
Mhm.
I mean, look, if Benedict goes down, now you plug Braxton Jones in a left tackle, who at least he's serviceable. And
Uh-huh.
then at the end of the day, he's going to walk at the end of the year, right? So maybe you get a comp pick back for him when he walks away.
Now, with you saying you opening the door to the trades, like, obviously trade, which means you have the potential to ship people away as well too. Is there anyone that you could see getting shipped away from, like, the starting side of the offensive defense?
I don't think so. I mean, there's been some talk about a lot of teams looking for receiver help, which the Bears have a pretty good receiving core. But
Mhm,
I just don't see the Bears making a move. I think the Ryan Poles are kind of stand pat. I think they like what they're building here
uh-huh,
with the roster with Ben Johnson. I think the time to make a move would have been in the offseason, but I think Ben Johnson's like, look, we're good with Swift, we're good with Monangai, we're good with Johnson, Homer. So I don't think it'll happen. But you never know. I mean, if a veteran guy comes available and the right team calls polls, and look,
mhm,
it's only going to take a six, and we'll give you this guy, and
yeah.
maybe they make a move. You're always listening, but honestly, I don't think it happens.
So, are you shutting down the DJ Moore trade talks that we've been seeing, like, these past couple of weeks?
Fans always want to get rid of DJ Moore. I don't understand. It's like he was a very popular player for a while,
Uh-huh,
and then he had some body language thing, and then a lot of fans turned on him. I'm like, what are we doing? I mean, that's just who he is. And look, he addressed the stepping off the field when he hurt his knee during a play live. I mean, it
mhm.
happens. It's not that big a deal to me. I think he's a good football player. Look, here he is playing this week after having to go to the hospital on Monday night.
Overnight.
Yeah, so he had an issue, whatever it was serious enough for like, look, we better get him in for precaution. And
Mhm,
then here he is, like, I'm fine, I'm playing, let's go. So I think DJ Moore is a good football player, highest paid Bear ever.
yeah.
Why let him stay there because he's still again play some tailback for you, play some receiver for you. I think it's a at some point they may move on just because of the contract, but
Mhm.
not this year, man. Keep all your weapons.
Yeah. So someone said it would not be smart to get rid of DJ, obviously. So I'm replying to this fan and you, Lester. So the fan name is Foster. So Foster, you and Lester, how wrong am I for not being sad that DJ isn't hurt, but I'm kind of sad that he's playing because I was one of those guys who was like, let's have that Luther Burden come out party,
Yeah,
baby. Let's go. Let's put Luther Burden in the starting lineup and see what he got.
I think Luther is eventual replacement for DJ Moore, but that's a couple years on the road.
Uh-huh.
Look, that's Ben Johnson's guy, right? I mean, he wanted him. They drafted him. Similar skill set to DJ Moore. I talked about the contract DJ Moore has. It doesn't make any sense to move on from him now. But
Hmm.
in a couple of years, if Luther Burden develops like the Bears hope he does, from a financial standpoint, in a couple of years, it will make sense to kind of move on from DJ Moore because the guaranteed money is no longer there. If
Hmm.
Luther developed like you hoped, Rome's there. If Rome developed like you hoped, I think they'll be fine. But yeah, I like DJ Moore. He's a good player. He's a good dude. I like keep him on the Bears.
Course. Now, Lester, I know you said that the Bears should go home with the W tomorrow. What does that say about this football team if they're now 4 games in a row winning? That would make them 4-2 now. Like,
Yeah,
what does that say about this football team and the trajectory of their season?
yeah. I mean, they're on the right path, right? I mean, it's they're right in there. They're going to be in the mix in the NFC for a playoff spot if they keep winning some games.
Uh huh.
We talked about it. 9, 10 wins. A winning record is obviously what you want to have as the first year. But
Hmm.
again, this was a pretty bad team last year. Ben Johnson and the coaching staff comes in. They kind of change the trajectory of everything. They're changing
Hmm.
the culture. Every week, every game. You hear stuff about the culture in there, and
Hmm.
I just think that they're on the right path. I mean, look, Ben Johnson's the guy. I mean, he was the right hire at the time.
Mhm.
he still appears to be the right hire. So it may not be this year, but this team is definitely going to on the right path to kind of make those playoffs.
If they go to the playoffs, Ben Johnson's automatically the coach of the year. Is it safe to say that?
Yeah, I mean, if the Bears have a winning record, if the Bears sneak into the playoffs, I see no reason why Ben Johnson can't be in the mix.
Mhm.
You know, Liam Cohen in Tampa Bay, he's going to be up there as well. There's
Uh-huh.
a few guys having pretty good years, but look, I mean, the next few games for the Bears are winnable. I mean, the Ravens are going to be tough because they're getting Lamar Jackson back. Plus, they're
Mhm.
coming off their bye, but they still got some issues. With some injuries.
Defense
Yeah,
defense too.
they're not playing the way they have always in the past.
Mhm.
Lamar is ridiculously talented. He
Mhm.
could be enough just by himself, but that's still not going to. I mean, when the schedule came out, you're like, oh my God, the Bears are going to get smoked this game. But
Mhm.
now you're like, man, the Bears have a chance. And then after that, it's the Bengals. And look, Joe Flacco looks good for the Bengals.
Wait, it's
But
not the Bengals before the Ravens? I thought
is
you
it the
might be right.
Bengals?
You might
No, I
I
think it's Ravens because they're coming off their bye,
okay.
and that's Jackson's next game, and then the Bengals. So I mean, the Bengals with Joe Flacco, they're better, but still, Joe Flacco is still he's not a very mobile quarterback.
Uh-huh.
You can pressure him a little bit, and it's not a very good team. So I mean, the Bears can come out of this next 3 game stretch, with 2 or maybe even 3 wins, and
Uh-oh.
now you're like, when you see those in the hunt graphics, it's going to
Mhm.
be for real. The Bears, it's like a real in the hunt,
How
if they get a
scary is
couple
that
wins.
seeing
Yeah,
the Bears may have the potential to be in the playoffs?
I mean, forget about it. If the Bears look when the Bears are good again, and I know it's going to happen with Ben Johnson.
Uh-huh.
Our fan base is going to be insufferable, right? Because we've taken crap for years, right?
Mhm.
It's been a long time since the Bears have been good. So, I mean, I'm excited for the Ben Johnson push that's going to come eventually because this team needs to be good, and let's get back to the Super Bowl.
How worried are you about that Bengals game with the performance that Joe Flacco had against the Steelers?
Yeah, this is who Flacco is, though. I mean, the last few years, he kind of gets in. He has a few good moments, and then he has a few bad moments. He's
Mhm.
older, so he's a little inconsistent. I mean, that's one reason why the Browns benched him and ultimately traded him is because he's just at this point in his career, he's inconsistent. So by then, he may suck again. Who knows? It's just one of those things you got to just play the games in front of you, and look, it's a talented offense because the receivers they have, but so if you heat Joe Flacco up like a lot of quarterbacks, you get him off his spot, you get him moving around. You have a very good defensive coordinator in Dennis Allen matching wits over there. So again, we'll see what happens in a few weeks, but right now I like their chances in that game.
Yes, sir. Now, as we get ready to close out this phenomenal episode, Lester, will it be a low scoring game, high scoring game tomorrow? What do you think it'll look like?
Yeah, I think the weather may play a factor. Everything I see, it says it's going to be a steady rain. So Soldier Field is notorious for having bad surface as it is. So
Mhm.
if it's sloppy, it may kind of keep scoring down a little bit. But then again, you may get some turnovers. This Bears defense is very opportunistic, so they may luck into some turnovers, give the Bears some short fields. I mean, I can see it going either way, but regardless how the outcome is, I do see the Bears having enough to pull out the win.
If they do lose, it's okay, right, Lester? Because you can't win them all, right? Like, how are we supposed to feel about that if they lose? Is it back to being in panic mode, or it happens?
It happens. I mean, if it depends how they lose. If they get blown out, obviously that's a problem. If it's a close game and they just come up a little short, it is what it is. But I think at this point, if the Bears are who they think they are, right, an ascending team, you've got to beat these teams that are on the schedule that you're better than. And I really do think the Bears have a better team on paper. They have a better team, as far as the roster, top to bottom.
Mhm.
So this is a game they should win. So the Bears need to go out there and take care of business.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first here first on Barely Watched. Lester said that the Bears are never going to lose a game the rest of the season.
There
He
it is.
said
There it
Jalen
is.
Johnson's coming back next week, right? But
It's
yeah,
all
Lester,
right there.
we greatly appreciate you having some time for us, Lester. We will be talking to you very soon, sir.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Yes, sir.